Yeah, feel so free. My mind wanna jaywalk. Yeah, take a sip of that crazy look in your eyes. As we dance, as we move, as we fall, as you spin me off the ground, as we touch sidewalk. Wanna make you feel it too. All I need, wanna come around and move closer. Is hearing your sweet talk. As we dance, as we move, as we fall, as you spin me off the ground. As we go into each other.
He can hear you. He can hear you. No, but he waved. He can hear you. Bring him on.
Hopefully we don't have to down
Let's just say different things.
I think I must have a
All right.
4-inch heels.
All right. What do we got going on? Hey, Damien. Can you hear me?
Hey, good morning. There you go.
Yes, we
All
can.
right. All right.
Good morning. Now I can hear you.
All right. This will be so we can kind of see some of the questions. All right, well, we're broadcasting live on about, I guess, 7 different pages right now. So thank you everyone for logging in and joining us. We just wanted to chat a little bit about mortgages, rate buy downs, and certainly, old listings that have been sitting there for a while, how to market those in such a way that we can sell those. But you know what? No difference between this meeting and our staff meetings, our team meetings. We always get our meetings started with a quick prayer. So let's do that. Father God, Lord, thank you for today and this opportunity for us to come together, for this opportunity to help agents, both RE/MAX and non-RE/MAX, help them sell their homes, list their homes, and move those homes so those buyers and sellers can get into that home at a great rate and on to the next home. And Lord, we just honor you with thanks and praise, and we give God the glory for it all. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Well, Damien, I know you have lots of agents around Texas.
Yes, I do. Yeah, a
I
lot.
mean, lots of loan officers, and we've got lots of different programs designed to help buyers get into these homes at better rates than most.
Yeah. That's why mortgage brokers are the best choice.
Okay, so that being said, do you have some information that might, before we dive into some of this stuff, do you have some information that might be beneficial to our viewers today?
Yeah, well, I've got a presentation I put together. So, if you've got a few minutes, I'd love to run through that.
Yes, please.
So bear with me 1 second. Let me get this going.
Ladies and gentlemen, forgive me. This is Damian Power. He's with Modern Mortgage First Choice. He is running a Houston branch, and he's got people here certainly in Central Texas and Spanish speaking and the whole 9 yards. He's got us covered. All right, Damian, what do you got?
So can you see my presentation and not me anymore?
We can.
Okay, awesome. So here we are on the live webinar. I hope this is going to be the first of many. So let's get this going. So who are we up against right now? It's the builders. I mean, I know Remax Go, they love working with their builders, but we've got a lot of listings that aren't builder homes. So how do we beat the builders and get your home sold? So what's the difference between a builder and a realtor with their listing? Pretty much nothing. They both want to sell the home. They both have the same rules they've got to follow. The only difference is the builder has probably a little bit more money for their marketing. Otherwise, everything should be the same. So how do you entice people into your listing rather than going to the builder? So what does the builder have? He has a sparkly new home. No one's lived in it. That's great for some people. They give free upgrades to the kitchen, bathroom, maybe tidy up the backyard a little bit. But that's nothing that you can't do in your listing. Now, the fun bit. Most of them are often offering seller concessions to the buyer. They'll pay closing costs. They'll pay temporary buy downs on the rate. And even some have a very low rate if you're qualified for that rate. So how do they get realtors in? That's another big thing. So they pay the full commission, they pay bonuses, and some even enter realtors into drawings and competitions. That is everything you can do on a regular listing. So act like a builder. Right. So for a regular listing, last few years, it was easy. You threw it out there, you put a sign in the yard, within a day it was sold. Not anymore. So you have to do a bit more marketing. You have to get a bit more in the trenches and get this. So yes, the home has been lived in before. So what you're up against is people that want a new home, but they're happy to wait 3, 6, 12 months to get that home. Some people want that home today, and that's your home. So you can update the kitchen, the bathroom, the yard, put flowers in, new sod. That's all what you can do. Now, this is what I like, seller concessions, what you can offer. So depending on the loan type, this is how much you can offer towards closing costs or buy downs. I can send this out later on. We don't have to go through everyone, but
Yeah, please.
Conventional, most people put down around about 10%. So that's 3% you can put towards closing costs, and then a lot more for FHA, USDA, and VA. So what can you do? You can put money towards closing costs and pay some or all of the closing costs up to that maximum that I just showed you. You can permanently buy down a rate, and you can temporarily buy down the rate. So let's jump into all those. So paying full closing costs. This is a huge thing right now because there's a lot of first-time home buyers coming into the market, and to save up down payment and closing costs is a huge deal. So, I mean, you could be talking upwards of $20,000 for a first-time home buyer, but combine that with one of my down payment assistance programs and then closing costs being paid by the seller, it's a no-brainer. They can get into the home easy with very little money down or very little money out of pocket. So be the hero and offer closing costs. You can put that into your marketing that I'm going to put 3% or 2% towards closing costs, and your home will sell. So permanently buying down the rate, you can put money, say the rate right now is 7.5%. You can put money towards that, so the buyer will get 7%. That's a huge savings straight off the bat, makes you look awesome, gets people in the door. Temporarily temp buy downs, these are awesome for marketing. It works very similar to the permanent buy down. It's just over a shorter period. So what we offer is 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, and 3-1 buy downs. And this is what they look like. So you lower on the 1-0, you decrease the starting rate 1% for the first year. The next one, 1-1, is 1% over the 2 years. 2-1 is 2% for the first year, 1% for the second year. Then it goes back to its initial rate. And 3-1 is the same. It's just spread out over 3 years. So an example here for a 2-1 buy down. So say the rate is 7.5%. That first year is 5.5%. Second year is 6.5%. Then it goes back to the pre-approved rate. What I like about these over permanent buy downs, the money gets put into an escrow account and gets paid each time the mortgage is paid every month. If they go to refi within those first 1, 2, or 3 years, the money in that escrow account can be used towards closing costs on a refi. So they never lose that money if they want to refi out or sell the house within that starting period. Now, this is always going to be the big question. If you put this to the seller, they're going to ask you, how much is this going to cost me? So let's take a quick look. I've got this awesome calculator. You can give me the loan amount or the starting price of the home, and I can run all these numbers for you within seconds. So the 2-1 buy down is the most popular and easiest to do. So say we're starting at a 7% on a $345,000 loan. It would cost the seller a shade over $8,000, which is not bad, out of pocket to help a seller, especially if the home has been there, 20, 30 days or even more. And then, it's going to be slightly more on the 3-1, slightly less on the 1-1 or 1-0. So why not just drop the house price instead of doing one of these buy downs? Everyone's doing it. It's not a big deal anymore. So do something different, stand out, get some marketing going, and push these buy downs. So the difference is between a 2-1 buy down and dropping a house price $8,000. It saves the buyer $55 a month, which at the end of the day, that's not really that much. Was that 10 coffees, 10 Starbucks in a month? They're not going to see that difference. But to see the difference in the first 2 years where they're saving $500 a month, that's a huge deal. So if you can push that rather than dropping the house price, it gets some good people through the door. And that's my quick presentation there. Obviously, hit me up afterwards. I'm happy to answer any questions, do more of a deep dive into this. So I can talk for hours over this. But this gives you a good overview, I hope. So here's my info. There's my phone number, 832-567-8493. My email, damien.power@mottomortgage.com.
And I know you've got Laura here at the Central Texas office, and I know y'all work together 5 times a day, it seems like. And so y'all are 2 and 1 here. I got a question for you. Can you get that presentation back? I'm looking for seller concession amounts for VA, USDA, FHA, and conventional. I know, what is it? VA, we've got 3%, conventional, we've got 6%. So we've got different money to work with. And we're going to try and explain this, because I think this is a breakdown with a lot of real estate agents based on a lot of the questions that we have come into the office on how to write this up. So as an example here, we'll go FHA. Yeah. Well, FHA, you've got 6% maximum seller contribution. Seller contribution, hey, you agents, if you're wondering what we're talking about part 12 of the 1 to 4 A1B. In that blank, you are allowed to put in a dollar amount, or the seller is allowed to put in the total amount that they're willing to contribute to the buyer to make the deal happen. All right, so what does that mean? That means here we're talking about a $350,000 house right there. Let's say your seller is going to reduce that from 345 to, here I'll say 320, and they're motivated, they're ready to go. I would encourage you to have a conversation with that seller and say, hey, listen, love that idea. We definitely want to be realistic. Let's pretend, yes, we're going to give that money to the buyer, but let's give it to them in the form of a seller concession so they can use this money as a rate buy down, right?
Right. We were talking about this the other day. How do you market that? I think it's a great idea to when you're a good listing agent is sitting down with their seller and setting these proper expectations and saying, hey, instead of the traditional lower the price to try to generate interest in this home, what if we were able to communicate to the general public and to the buyer's agents out there looking for their clients a way to do this? And in our office we have Tanya Rogers, who is on the ethics committee with MLS, and she was quick to let us know you can't just write that in MLS. You can't just mark it, hey, we'll give you $15,000 towards whatever, right? And so there are ways to do it, definitely to keep it legal and to keep it, I guess, ethical with as far as the Texas Real Estate Commission, because we do have to do that. And so I would definitely ask your broker, your compliance person in your office to make sure you're doing it the right way. But I think marketing it is the key, definitely.
Right, because we do see it in MLS. They do sometimes market that in such a way that we do end up getting a violation, or the agent gets a violation and they've got 48 hours to fix it. And there are, not so ethical ways. But yes, marketing is key, right? And if you're working with a bunch of buyers, you want to be able to structure your deal in such a way that you do get this seller concession. So when you're representing your buyer, you do get to get seller concession, that you do get to buy down the rate. And now we're playing the game of buying a house like, it's 2020, 2021.
That's a great point. I'm glad you went that direction, because we also have many agents that are listing agents are also buying agents. They're representing buyers. And you told me a long time ago, you've got to know enough about mortgages. Even though we're not licensed mortgage officers, we have to know enough to guide our people, our clients, our friends to make the best decisions. And so it's so important. Damien gave us a big bird's eye view of this concept. But if you're anything like me, the numbers just start to go blurry in my head, and I couldn't repeat everything he just said. So I would say get with Damien or Laura or any of our Motto Mortgage loan officers and deep dive with them. Have a one-on-one session with them so you really understand what you're doing. Because when you're showing a house and say that house is $340,000 and you feel like you were thinking about putting an offer a little lower on that, why not put an offer at that price, but then reduce by asking for seller concessions, and have a conversation with the listing agent before you just blindly send that over. Let's talk about it. Hey, Frank, I know you got this listing. I'm about to put an offer together. We'd really like to have a lower payment, my buyer. So I'm going to structure it this way. And what do you think about that? That could be a really high level way of transacting for your client.
Right, because sometimes that seller is not going to budge, but you still need that money.
Right.
There's a thing called premium pricing. Premium pricing is, okay, that $345,000, that seller says, we're not taking a penny under $345,000. I need $10,000 to be able to buy this rate down and pay for the things I need to pay for. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put in an offer at $355,000 with a seller concession of $10,000 to allow me to have this money to go buy this rate down. And
the only time that could blow up in your face is if it doesn't appraise, right? And so we really need to be an expert at knowing what the value of property in that neighborhood is, and have a backup plan for that. But that is definitely thinking outside the box, being creative for your buyer and for your seller.
And so back to the listings, on the listing side, this, from old to sold, a lot of these listings, people are reducing the price. Great. It's better than hanging out at a price that's too expensive. But I would encourage you, if you've got a listing, to talk with your seller and have them take some of this money that they were going to do in a price reduction and do it in a seller concession to attract that buyer that's looking for that 5% interest rate, right? If we get you enough seller concession, that's not a problem, right, Damien?
Yes, exactly.
You can actually even structure enough seller concession to start paying for some of these closing costs too. And then now we're talking, you've got to come up with FHA, your 3.5%. That's about it. So there are lots of ways. I want you guys to pay attention to his presentation. So as you are putting these deals together, and if you're putting a deal together for FHA, you see the maximum amount of seller contribution or seller concession is 6%. And if the home is hypothetically $300,000 and you're asking for $20,000 in seller concession, you're not within the guideline. You're not within what is allowable on a $300,000 home at 6%. That's 18 grand. That's the max, right?
Yeah, you know, it's always been a thing as a buyer's agent to talk to the lender, get a pre-qualification for your buyer, so you have a good understanding of what they can afford, how they're going to buy it, and it's in a market like we're in that has higher interest rates and it's a little more competitive to sell a house right now. Then I think listing agents need to have a conversation with the lender before they even list the property, because what are we up against and what are some solutions to help our sellers sell their house faster?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Under VA, what is 4% plus extra? What is that?
Okay, so Damien, what is under the VA section? It says 4% contribution plus extra. What is the extra?
So you can do things like, depending on the house price, you can, or the appraisal, you can actually roll in extra debt. Say you've got a car payment of, with a 12% interest rate, you can actually pay off that car and roll that into the home loan. That's one example.
Oh,
Interesting.
On top of getting any seller concessions.
And you're saying the seller can do that at closing?
Yes, yeah, because as long as the home appraises, those kind of debts can get rolled in on top of seller concessions.
Which is important on the debt to income ratios for you to get the ratios in proper place, right?
Exactly. So if they've got a car payment of $500 and it's ruining the DTI, and we show that it's paid off at closing and it drops the DTI into where it needs to be, then we're good to go.
That's brilliant.
Man, love it, love it. That's why you want to be with a broker.
So when we market something like this, although we may not be able to put it in the description of the MLS, we can reverse prospect anybody who that MLS listing has gone to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So we could just shoot a blast.
Great point, because what you're really trying to do is market and overcome the objections that a potential buyer has, right?
Yeah. That's smart, Frank, because in our MLS system, when you're listing the property, you can select that it qualify for reverse prospecting. That means any buyer's agent who has set up a search for a specific buyer, if your house falls into those parameters, then they get a notification that, hey, this might work for your buyer, right? And then you can, like Frank said, blast email all those agents that fit into that qualification. And so those buyer's agents are going to get an email from you saying, hey, buddy, we've got a deal and we're thinking outside the box over here. Let's have a conversation. Love that.
Because how many lenders say, oh, they're at 50%, too much debt. That's cool.
Right.
Paying off this little credit card, that high interest rate car.
You know what? It shows that you're a high level professional too. It says this person's not on autopilot, because like you were saying earlier when we were talking, there was a time in markets go up and down, sideways, every which way. We've come out of a recent market where it was like you could put a hook in the water without bait on it and a fish would jump on it, right? And that's where we were. As you transition into a market that requires professionals to really work the magic that they've learned over their years to list these properties and sell them quickly, we have to have tools to work with, and that's what we're talking about.
And you just need to know the tools. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And so, Damien, thank you for sharing. This is what I'm going to call a normal market. This is, it is different than it used to be.
Different.
But I can tell you, we've been in this market before, maybe not quite at 7% interest, but, homes where you actually have to market, where you actually have to be really good at doing your job and really good at marketing, advertising, promoting, letting your database, letting, your colleagues know about this particular listing, right?
That's right.
That's also a benefit of being at a big brokerage, because we have the ability to blast this out to our agents as well. So,
Right. And that's, something we wanted to talk about, ways to sell your home. We've got, yes, seller concessions. Yes, we've got the ability to compete with the builders. And, a lot of the buyers are leaving to go be with the builders because of that rate. Now, if we can have the same rate, if we can have the same incentives, you're right, Damien, why would they go to the builder? They don't have to. they've got those options with the resale, with the beautiful home up on the hill with the mature trees and everything.
Yeah, Damien mentioned this earlier that yes, there's value in new homes. That if you like the smell of that new home smell, if you like the amenities, things like that. But there are people who absolutely do not want to buy a new home because it might be too close to the neighbor. It might not have the mature trees. It might have as wide of a yard because of the way that these builders are developing these communities that are getting smaller and smaller lots, right? So they can fit more dollar signs on those lots. And we know that. And so every one of us who work with buyers in this town have heard somebody say, oh no, I don't want a new home because of blank. Right. There are those reasons. There's such a list of things. And then you have people who are absolutely whatever you can get me and I'll buy. And if I can get the best deal, that's what's more important. So we need to know that there are still people out there buying resale homes. That's what we call resales that have been lived in before. And they may be a year old. They may be 100 years old. There's a buyer for every home.
Right. New to you.
In every market.
That's right. Amen.
Amen. That's right. Okay, so we wanted to go through some of these ideas for those of you who are just amazing marketeers. We've got certainly open houses, but there are twists on open houses that are kind of exciting. Make sure that you set the expectation with your seller and get approval to do some of these things with the seller because they are out of the box. Pop-up store.
Like
Pop-up store.
like a trunk show.
A trunk show, exactly. A trunk show. And so, I know.
We're not talking about selling like watches out of the back of a trunk. Right?
No. We pull out, we've got jewelry, we've got makeup, we've got, back in the day, maybe it was Tupperware, I don't know.
Right.
Where they're having these parties at these homes. Isn't it our job as an agent who has this listing to make sure that this listing is the most popular listing on the block?
Absolutely.
The most popular listing, in the town. For that
If your
matter.
listing has a pool and a great backyard situation, why not have a little party with hors d'oeuvres and drinks and Jimmy Buffett music playing?
Cheese and wine.
Yeah, you could make it a party as long as the seller's okay with that. I think that's an outside the box idea, and you let every realtor in town know that you have a margarita machine or a wine.
There you go.
They show up and they want to
The
see that
agents will
listing.
show up, and now if we know that this particular listing, and every agent in town knows about this listing, when they get a buyer that's looking for this, or this, they can say, you know what, I was in that home yesterday
Mhm.
having margaritas or whatever.
They're going to say, I wish I'd thought of that.
Yeah, they are. All right. Facebook marketing, social media, that's a no-brainer. Our agents and every agent in town does that. But you know what? ChatGPT, this new AI thing, it's really good. ChatGPT can create a Canva graphic on any home. Pretty amazing with SEO built in.
Yeah, as an agent that's been doing this a long time, I was one of the first to say I don't know how to make these amazing graphics. I'm not a graphic designer. I didn't go to school for that. But now we have the ability to use. I'm also not a copywriter. I don't think of myself as a great writer. But
You're a
Chappie,
great writer.
thank you. I need to work on my confidence. What you're saying. ChatGPT can make me look like a great writer. It can make me look like a graphic designer. So if you are apprehensive about trying this new technology because it's been all over the news and you're hearing all these rumors about it, there were a time when people in buggies looked at cars and said, I'll never drive one of those, right? So be open to at least let somebody younger than you or smarter than you explain it to you. And we, of course, train on that here in our office. With Leah, and so it's a great tool for sure.
Yes. What do we got? Organic versus paid ads. Oh, Buffini. If you're an agent, Buffini is Call Notes and Popeyes. I mean, it's working the system that we know works, right?
And not just that, not just Calls, Notes, and Popeyes, but actually Leah brought this up this morning. When you have a listing, you should go 20 doors down, 20 doors down, 20 doors across the street.
20 by 20.
Meet the neighbors, pass out flyers,
Pick
let
your
them know.
neighbor.
Yeah, let them know that they may be wanting to bring, like you said, pick a neighbor. They have a family member or a friend that they would love to live across the street, or they're bringing mom in from another town or another state. That they could get out on that opportunity faster. They may also know someone who's been looking. That's just an organic way to meet people, because we're in the business of we're in contact sport. We're in a business of meeting people. And, you know, for somebody like me who loves meeting new people, that's just fun to meet new people, because you never know what you're going to have in common and how you're going to be able to network with that person.
You know, we were talking about it this morning, one of my favorite ways to market a listing that probably 99% of the agents don't do. But there's a company out there called Sly Broadcast. Sly Broadcast, Sly Dial. Have y'all ever received a thing that popped up in your voicemail? And my phone never even rang.
Mhm.
There's a voicemail there. Well, there's a company that actually does that for you. And we have the ability as agents to go into a neighborhood and get all the names and phone numbers around this listing. And then we have the ability to get all their phone numbers and send them a voicemail telling them about your listing at 123 Elm Street and how amazing it is, and tell all your friends, pick your neighbor, that kind of thing. Just listed, as we know about Just Listed, just sold postcards. Just listed this property, and blast that neighborhood. Heck, maybe even blast that town, blast the neighborhood surrounding that neighborhood. Lots of ways to let everybody know about that listing, and certainly let everybody know about your amazing loan officer and how he can get the interest rates down to 5, 4, 6, not 7.
You know,
So-
under seven. Another maybe what's considered a traditional way of marketing listings is farming, and we've all heard of farming. It's not obsolete to use direct mail. There are programs out there. Get with your favorite title company, or get with your broker, get with your trainer, and find out how inexpensive it can be to grab a big group of addresses around your property and keep in constant contact with that person physically.
Consistency.
Mhm. And then the high level of that is you start farming a certain community. Our full-time trainer, Leah Herbal, teaches how to then go and find them as an audience on Facebook marketing.
Mhm.
And then you can Facebook market that same person that you're direct mail marketing. Boy, they can't go anywhere without you saying, hi, I'm your realtor.
Right. And remember that my listing, 123 Elm Street, it's got 4.99% interest. How do we do that? Call Damien. All right. I can't see if we have any questions. Let me go ahead and.
There's one comment from Liz.
Can you pull up Liz's comment?
Yeah, it's right there.
Let's see.
She met a girl.
Yesterday, who is a juice bar vendor. And she can
Nice.
set up a local, and so you can have like a juice party at that listing, not a traditional open house, but we're doing juices, smoothies, whatever.
Love it.
Cookies and water.
Yeah.
If you're lucky to even get that, right?
Right. I love that.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah, you have to decide how you're going to do that based on where your listing is. If your listing is a really fancy listing in a fancy part of town, then you just want to cater, pardon the pun, cater your type of party or type of event to what would attract folks in that demographic, if you will, or that income level or that interest level.
Right. So true. So many things. And really the point of this class today was to talk about interest rates, because, what do you call it? The elephant in the room. These are all beautiful homes. And let's be honest, if we had interest rates at 3.625% interest, we'd be in a market like we were 2 years ago. And there would be not a lot of inventory, because people would be buying all your listings. Am I right?
Right.
Your listing is less expensive now, and the rate is a little more. I guess it depends how you want to weigh that, right?
Well, I think the important thing is to stay positive and realize that if there is a change in the market that might seem negative to one person, it's positive to the other. So like you just said, as interest rates go up a little bit, prices go down. So if you're one of those buyers, if you have those buyers that that you're trying to have a conversation with about don't wait. If they're waiting now they used to, when the interest rates were low, buyers said they were waiting for the prices to go down and to not have the competition of 5 other people trying to buy that home. And now those same buyers are waiting for interest rates to come down.
Which then the prices,
Go up and there's more buyers trying to buy that home. So if that buyer is one of those folks, then that buyer will never buy a home.
Right.
So somebody said yesterday, it doesn't matter. Get the lowest rate you can get using the creative means of seller concession, rate buy down, doing whatever you can do to get that accomplished. Get in that home now, because when those interest rates do go down, the price of that home will go up, and they're going to be sitting on an asset that has improved. And now they could refinance if it goes down far enough, or they can just stay with that rate. They can sell it. They can do whatever they want. But if they're sitting on the sidelines watching this market go a little bit up and a little bit down, they're just never going to buy.
And so there's a saying in the mortgage industry: date the rate.
I hate that.
Date the rate. It's one of those things where buy the home at the best price possible. And if you end up refinancing that property, in a year, in 2 years, 3 years from now, the difference that you pay between the rate from, 4% to 7% is going to be way less than the amount of money that you're going to be spending or saving. So
I like to say you're not buying the rate, you're buying the home.
right.
And so buy the home you want at the best price you can get it, at the best rate you can get it. And then that's the only thing that can change over the next few years, if possible, is to refinance that home and have a different rate, but you still have the same home.
Yeah.
So if you're waiting to buy a rate, you're never going to buy.
And Damien, don't y'all sell, or don't y'all have a product where there's like a free Wi-Fi, a free refi? Don't y'all have a free refi somewhere down the road? UWM, is there something?
Yeah, if we put the loan through UWM, there's a certain thing we can do that we can get a free refi, or that they offer a free appraisal on the refi down the line. But we can definitely work out some price in there.
Yeah. So
What it shows you is that the industry as a whole is looking to see how can we be creative to help buyers buy and sellers sell. So whatever can be done is being done to help that process go. And that's a good thing. That means everybody's joining together. Smarter people than me and you are coming up with really cool ideas.
right.
And then we're doing the best we can to train our agents and to take care of our clients the best we can.
Yes. Okay, so let's talk about that real quick. Are there any questions here in the room about what Damien has been talking about and the best way to structure some of this stuff?
Maybe the VA one, because like even Debbie said, well, with that 100%, they pay off the car. No, it's another incentive after that, if you can explain that a little bit.
Could you explain that VA program where it's the 4% plus extras a little bit better? Is that what you're asking?
Using a car payoff.
Using a car payoff at how much?
15.
At 15 grand. Let's say that car's 15 grand. We're on the tail end of paying that thing off. It's $500 a month. And we need that on the
Like who pays that off?
DTI. Thank you.
So let's say we've maxed out the 4% seller concession, and they, in order to buy this house, they need that $15,000 car paid off. Can the seller pay that $15,000?
So it would come from the appraisal of the home. It's not the seller that pays it. It's you're rolling that into the loan. So the house has to appraise for the difference.
Okay, so I bought the home for $345. I got 15 grand on this car. I need to appraise for $360, right?
Yeah. That's how it works. Yeah.
Okay.
So the loan then becomes.
The
So the
loan
loan
is
becomes-
360. Yeah, they're
becomes
rolling that
more-
car into the loan.
They're just getting a
They're
lower.
not
interest rate.
paying it off.
They're getting a lower interest rate on the car loan, let's say.
But does it pay off the car?
Yes, it pays off the car. Yeah.
And that goes away and then they're.
That goes away now.
Yeah, it'd be like if you walked in with 2 cars and said, I want to roll these together and trade them to you and buy that one. And so you're just rolling that $15,000 into your house note.
Gotcha.
And, if you got a 17% interest on the car, you're going to get a better interest rate paying that. It's consolidating your credit.
But you know what's
Yeah.
cool about this is when the interest rates come down and the price of that home goes up, and that was $345, and next thing you know, it's $395, and you're sitting at $360, so you're in a much better spot
That's-
anyway.
Yeah, I had an investor tell me.
You're already on to the next.
I had an investor tell me one time, the coolest thing about real estate is, you know, you might go to bed and your house is worth 300,000. You wake up tomorrow morning, it's worth 315. You made $15,000 while you're sleeping.
Right.
So that's pretty cool.
That is.
Nice. Okay, before we say goodbye, do we have any other questions on there? Let's see, do you have, do the same rules apply to advertising the rate buy down on social media platforms as they
Good
do
question.
for MLS?
That's Lindsay.
And so you want to steer away, as you are not a mortgage professional. Damien, you can elaborate more on this, but you are not wanting to be pushing a specific rate. Rates from, some restrictions may apply. We want to do everything we can to let everyone know that we do have the ability to get to this, but not everyone's going to qualify. So some restrictions do apply. Damien, I know that there are laws centered around that. Do you want to share a tidbit about that?
Yeah. So with those temporary buy downs, you can say, I will offer a 2-1 buy down. As long as you don't say the starting rate is 7 and I guarantee 5.5. You can't put specific numbers on those because we never know what the starting rate is and we don't know where it ends up on the time. But you can say we will offer closing costs. We will offer temporary or permanent buy downs. Just don't be specific on the numbers.
I think we could have a whole class on just that, the legalities of marketing, what TREC allows us to do, what RESPA allows us to do, because we used to say on social media, you know, payments as low as blank, and we would just get a payment from our lender saying, okay, VA, lowest rate possible. If we bought it down with everything maxed out on that, and what would that be? And so you could market a payment as low as long as you're, or maybe, I don't know if it's still true, but asterisk, you know, restrictions apply, must qualify, blah, blah, blah. You have to have your legalese in there. So I think it'd be fun to have some questions with not only Karen Madden with compliance, or with you, our broker, or with Tanya, who knows MLS rules, and Damien, to see what can we say and what can't we say, because we want to be as aggressive as possible in marketing ridiculously great deals without pushing the legal envelope.
Now, Damien, can't you create a flyer for a listing with what here I'm going to call payment information, but then in the bottom in the disclosure section, disclose how you got to that rate and how you got to that payment, and not everyone's qualified?
Yeah, so I can put on there, as long as like you have a 740 credit score with 20% down, these are the rates as of this morning.
Mm-hmm.
These rates will change. You know, there's verbiage in there that I need to put in, but yes, I can give a rate sheet, and I can even show examples of 2-1 buy downs. I mean, you know, we're getting lots and lots of sheets there, but you know, as long as it's an example, and I can say the rate, it was 9 o'clock this morning on the 27th.
Sure.
You know, but on the 28th, it could be
For tomorrow.
We can avoid a lot of that if we just simply said, hey, we're willing to contribute, let's say 10,000 towards closing costs or rate buy down.
Right.
So you just cap the amount that you're.
Well, and I don't think
Right.
I don't think you can even say that. I think depending on what medium you're using, the seller has money to contribute to a buy down to get you the
can't
lowest
put a,
rate.
like,
I'm not sure.
Well, not in MLS we can't, but on social media and stuff like that, I think we can. And so there's lots of ways, right? Lots of ways. And if we have a listing that's old and cold and we want it hot and gone, we're probably going to be doing it all, doing everything we can to get that thing gone. So if you like some of the marketing that you heard us talk about today, if you are a consumer wanting to sell your home, reach out to a RE/MAX agent. We want to help. If you are an agent and you want to learn more about marketing your listing, reach out to Damien. He can help you not only market that home, not only create a flyer for you, but help you with the numbers, how to get a potential buyer to a rate that is exciting.
You know, and I want to conclude with this. If I'm an agent that doesn't have any listings right now, but I want to be a listing agent, and I want to market for listings, I want to go to Leah Herbold's trainings because she trains me how to use social media, funnels, chat GPT, video marketing, everything I need to be that agent that people see on social media that says that guy, that gal is an expert in my market. When it's time for me to sell my home, I'm going to call them. And I don't know anybody else who does that better than Leah Herbold.
There isn't anybody.
Then I, yeah.
All right, guys, thank you for your time. My name's Scott. This is Todd. Until next time, we'll see you later. Y'all take care. Appreciate you, Damon.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.